The Brown County Commission to order. We'll start with the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd also like to offer a moment of silence for Jared Jangula, who is a member of our communication centers. We lost him on Friday. Thank you. Our thoughts and prayers are certainly with his family at this tough time. First on the agenda, we've got Ordinance 114, the Ball Farm rezone, first reading.
Anybody know what has to be changed?
For what?
Can you change from...
From egg to mini egg, or they replanting that small site, I don't know.
Yeah, it basically, they're selling the farmstead off. It's just a small acreage. Because she moved into town and...
I'll move it.
Moved by Sutton.
Second.
Seconded by Fishback. Any questions on that? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay.
This will be roll call because it's adoption.
Yeah.
No,
Okay.
it's
First reading.
first reading. First reading. Okay. You're right. Okay. Who did that?
I did. Rachel did.
You want?
Do you want me to save yours with ours?
There you go.
All right.
Doug should have one up there. Yeah.
Max, do you want to go through your list?
Okay, minutes. General meeting February 6th.
Move.
Second.
Moved by Sutton, seconded by Fishback. Is there any corrections or additions to the minutes? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried.
Claims.
Move it.
Second. Moved by Fishback, seconded by Hanson. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried.
HR reports.
Move. Second.
Moved by Hanson, seconded by Sutton. Any questions on the HR report? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried.
Stratford Community Theater lottery permit.
Move.
Second. Moved by Fishback, seconded by Hanson. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried.
Appoint Scott Meintz and Tom Schmidt to the 2018 Homeland Security Regional Review Board.
Move.
Moved by Sutton, seconded by Hanson. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried.
Fair contracts.
Move.
Moved by Fishback.
Second.
Seconded by Sutton. Any questions on those fair contracts? Starting to get a lot of them.
Yep.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried.
Auditor's report of accounts.
Move.
Moved by Sutton.
Second.
Seconded by Fishback. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried.
Investigative services agreement.
Is that the same as last year?
Yep. Take one.
I'll move.
Moved by Fishback, seconded by Sutton. Any questions on that? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried.
There were some leases, First United Methodist Church, Aberdeen Road Girls, there's two of the Native American Church, Boy Scouts of America, and a wedding reception with alcohol permit.
Those are all in January.
No, they were dated January. They're coming up. through-
They're coming up,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
thank you.
I'll move it.
Moved by Sutton.
Second.
Seconded by Hanson. In favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried.
Okay, I've got one more item, but I'd like to ask for an executive session to discuss it.
Okay, should we do our contract exec quick and then come back out? Or do you
Yeah,
want to
let's
save
do-
them all together?
We could just go in for legal and contracts,
Okay.
if that's all right. Everybody else
Yeah.
move it.
Moved by Sutton.
Second.
Seconded by Hanson. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. We'll be in executive session.
Here, we want to shut it
And is Scott Lines out there?
He is. Yeah, I just,
Yeah, I'd like him in here too.
Hey, Mike.
There he is.
Can you, we had no action as a result of exec.
Okay.
Under other matters to come before the commission, we did receive a letter from the Department of Revenue, correct?
Correct.
Do you want to give us just kind of a rundown, Gene, of what you think their points are and what your thoughts are on the letter?
Their points are that they do not want us to have a neighborhood with greater than a 1.0 factor. Their opinion is that productivity value is market value. So if we're above a 1.0, we're above market value as indicated by the productivity law. They do allow us to create neighborhoods, sort of downward adjustments via location and things like that. We can use sales to verify the amount of the relations between the top and bottom and what kind of adjustments we can make, although we do have to convince them that our sales are supported by productivity matters. I believe we can do that as we get going forward. Speaking with Mr. Howdyshell this morning, it sounds like he agrees or will at least allow my new proposed neighborhood for 2018 payable 2019. We'll have some opportunity to discuss my reasoning with him and justify as much as I can beyond sales as to how I can support those neighborhoods. I feel I can. He sounded pretty agreeable that I maybe could, and he'd be willing to work with me through this for 18 and then also through 19, or going into 19. The consequence in 18 may be that we will probably see a different equalization factor than the 0.85. That appears to be the only issue. The fact that we don't have anything assessed above a 1.0 multiplier seems that we will get around anybody having any grounds to appeal it. We won't have anybody that are getting assessed above 1.0 or assessed above what that property would bring on the open market as far as sale price. So that kind of covers our end as far as appeals.
And these letters will be available for anybody that wants a copy, what we got from the department? Yep, absolutely.
And you'll get them from over there at the tractor.
That's
Yeah, we can have them at the session.
Yeah, I'm over there often.
I'll give you-
Gene, do you want to talk a little bit about what your map is here?
One of the things that I'm going to bring up, at least as far as my adjustments and validation of my adjustments, is the neighborhoods that I do have very similar or very much coincide with neighboring counties. If we were to, I'm not sure who wants to see.
Put it up on the a ledge there. Is there a ledge? Sure.
Brown County runs from North Dakota down to Spink County. Whatever that is, 8 townships. Our neighboring counties, McPherson, or let's go this way first. Marshall and Day from North Dakota, they actually run down 9 townships, so they do extend one more. But Brown County and Marshall and Day, if we were to slide Brown County over Marshall and Day, it would virtually cover it. Marshall's top dollar is $28.87. Day's top dollar is $31.52. That's a 9.1% difference in their top dollar in the same amount of area that I'm required to use one top dollar. I believe that if Brown County were split into 2 counties, lying the same place, if we had a courthouse in Aberdeen and a courthouse in Frederick, it would very much indicate the same kind of difference as Brown and Day do. If you go to the other side,
As Marshall and Day.
Marshall and Day, I'm sorry.
Yep.
On the other side, McPherson and Edmonds, little tougher land than we have. But there again, if we slid Brown County over, we would virtually cover Marshall and Edmonds, other than we'd lose a township to the west. McPherson is $22.50 at a top dollar. Edmonds is at $27.40 at a top dollar. About a almost 22% difference between the north and south end there. I still think that also justifies or shows that our neighborhoods probably have, or our county probably has the same trend from north to south as they do on either side of us. It also shows that east to west, there's probably a variation, much like my map shows my western townships here. I do have an adjustment in Brown County also. So I'm adjusting north to south and east to west, similar to the counties around me. And then I'm adjusting that just based on sales because that's all I really have. But the sales show me that those same kind of trends. I made my numbers, I made my neighborhoods, and then Friday I thought, well, what the heck are these ones next to us at? And so I called around, and I think they kind of bear my numbers out. Kind of going from there. Letter from Mr. Hardy-Shaw indicated that our soil survey should indicate that, or said that our soil survey should indicate that south should be higher than north, and I agree. We do have better soils in the south than we do in the north, but the only thing you can do is, but with sales, the fact that you have $8,000 sales here and $5,000 sales here don't necessarily justify neighborhoods. You have to make those each show how they relate to each other as if they were a 1.0. So if this 8, for instance, if this is a 0.8 rated that's selling for $8,000 and this is a 0.5 rated that sells for $5,000, those can both work off the same $10,000 top dollar. So you have to make an adjustment so you can relate sales to sales, or sales to top dollar versus sales to top dollar to show where your neighborhood lines are at, which is what we do when we make our neighborhood and neighborhood adjustments. And that also shows me that above the fact that these do have higher price sales, they also come in relation higher versus a top, a 1.0 rated sale than these do. So those are the only information I get. I get soil ratings, I get sales. I have had a couple farmers come in and bring me property or cash insurance numbers or 10-year cash insurance average numbers. They bear out one of the things that I did notice or had noticed in our sales. Previously we had neighborhoods that were about 30% different. My neighborhoods now, I think there's a map here.
20% of the max.
10 from the top to the bottom, but 12%. 12% of 1 to an 87 from here to here, which pretty close to matches up also what those productivity numbers give me. And I have 20% coming down these other edges. And the sales and those productivities kind of show me the same thing. That's one of the things I never get is crop insurance numbers. Nobody's willing to share those. Even the ones I have made sure that I see them, nobody else does. They just get thrown in the garbage. So it's really not one of those things you can go out and say, yeah, bring me your productivity numbers and I'll make adjustments from there. But I have had a few come in and give me the numbers, and they seem to bear out what I believed and what their sales tell me. So I'm not real sure what I get to Mr. Hardy-Shaw right now. We're going to get together, sounds like, and see what we can do, kind of hammer this out. But right now, you kind of gave us the go-ahead to send out our assessments with neighborhoods that I have here, and be good to go, and hopefully get everything justified and verified by 2019. But we're going to kind of bump through this 2018 thing okay, the way the revenue makes it sound right now.
Is there a difference between the .87 yellow and green?
The .87 yellow and green, no. Yes and no.
Okay.
I believe, and I've heard, and lots of people telling me, and looking at soils books and things, that this point up here on the east side of the river is probably better than this on the west side of the river. And I think eventually there could be a point where these are two separate neighborhoods. I think they are two separate neighborhoods, but when you start looking at the sales right now, and you relate how one is a top or a 1.0 to the other is a .10, I can't point out a difference. And calling them different neighborhoods by my sales right now. I think they may as well be divided right now because I think eventually they could very well be. We have admittedly gotten a little stagnant as far as checking our sales all the time. Probably that glass half full thing out of this whole thing is I did go through and do a complete market analysis again over the last 3 years of ag sales. And so we did get rid of some different lines in here and kind of readjusted my neighborhoods. And there again, I think there could very well be a difference in these two parts in the future, but I don't see the sales showing me anything to differentiate them right now.
One of the things that struck me in this letter, and I wasn't here in 2010, and there's people here who are much better versed at this than I am, but they acknowledged that they got our plan in 10, and they got our plan in 11. Now, granted, productivity was fairly new, but they knew what we were doing, so why didn't they at that point tell us, hey, maybe you shouldn't be doing it that way? That's kind of, I don't understand that.
Rachel, I agree.
You know what, because we by all means want to do it right. And if there's things we can adjust, we're going to do it, but I don't know why it came to this point.
I think really that whatever section of law that is should be amended to justify what they told us we had to do.
Right. And the answer that I'm getting from Pierre is, okay, well, in 2015, we had the full productivity came in all the townships, but that's when they started to question, well, why do you still need neighborhoods? Because it's supposed to be in the formula. But, you know, at that point, we never told them we were doing it different. They were getting the plan, so why did it take so long?
And we probably didn't send anything different in the plan because we didn't change anything in the plan. Even this year, we did tweak those northern neighborhoods a little bit, so we would have probably sent in a map, or would have sent in a map anyway. This did get sent in. We didn't get any feedback this year that it was wrong or questioned or anything until everything kind of blew up here at the beginning of the year. But Pierre did have intentions sent in. Prior to this, they received them. We didn't have any question on it until our commission asked them to look into it.
And that's been my argument all along. They've received our assessment plan every year.
With
so
the map.
they're aware of what we've been doing, so that's the confusing part.
Could I make a comment?
Sure.
Well, Gene's map there, if that all that top dollar all stems from gross production. You know, for the whole county, and I think Brown County is 495. Please, I stand to be corrected. I think that's pretty close. If Gene would be right though in what he's doing, and you just split Brown County, I'm sure that the gross production in the north would be lower than the gross dollar production in the south. So it's just that we're a long county the other way. The other thing that I commend Gene on is he's still got that northern edge in two different colors, but he said today he's going to use the same factor. I would say that's probably all right, because, and I keep saying, ladies and gentlemen, I'm in the middle. I mean, mine is, if he went to 1, I was 97 in the old map. He dropped that middle area for equalization purposes. But I'm right in the middle, but if you would split that, like I said, I'm sure your gross would come in dollar income less than the north. Not every year. I'll agree to that, but that could vary. So that would be my reason. And if you look at his map, it isn't a straight line, but it follows that Jim River pretty close. And that northeast area's got sand dunes, the northwest area's got more rocks and gumbo. So it just, you know.
Our county's about as diverse as you can get.
Yeah.
We got some of the best land in the state, and then we got some stuff that's not very good.
Yeah, that's what I said all the time, Tom. But every county could say the same, but I think being our county is a large county in the way it runs along the Jim River. So, you know, I want to commend Gene for what he's did, but I was in favor of the neighborhoods. I was in favor of the 118 when they did it, and why did the state now say And I think the reason they did what they did is because if you read that section of law, they're saying that I'm trying to say this, that the top dollar is the market value. But yet they're making and not making, but they still keep track of all sales. So I think that section of law has to be amended. You know, that was the argument when we went to productivity. You know, it was, you know, some of the assessors as well. That isn't market value, no. And the people in Pierre would say, Paul, forget market, vote for production, you know, when I was on the fence. And then when I went that way to go to the production, but there's still two different values. There's a taxable, which you call a production value, and then there's still, you're keeping track of all the market values. And they will continue to do that.
But now that you get that number and you don't know what it means.
The average person doesn't.
When you used to get the number, you knew, you know, that market value, you knew if
But,
it's...
you know, the average person, if they looked at that $4.95, I can work through it and get where they're trying to go, and I've never disagreed with it, but I still think that strictly that you use your soil survey number, that isn't enough in Brown County. But if the county would be split in half, I'm sure the production number would verify what Gene is trying to do.
Sure it would.
I would think you'd probably agree, Tom.
Yeah.
Not in every year.
No.
You know, your beans will probably go, say, 60, and mine will go 52.
I'd
Or
say,
if you go to 55, mine will probably be 48. I'm just saying, that is just about a given in Brown County.
But at 55 to 48 is about 12%, which is about what I have there in my productivity.
And like I said to you, I'll just say it again, mine is in the middle. My soil is 72, and I'm in the middle, so whatever my argument is, and what I think I said is my friends live in the north and northwest, and I got friends on the other side. I want them to be equal between them.
yeah, just trying to be fair.
It's as fair as you can be. I told you that I didn't totally agree with the range in Garland and Brainerd Township, because I know where my brothers and my nephews live. They're in the same areas I am. They could be tweaked, but the new map that Gene made up, I think I'm more in favor. It didn't change anything, but where he drew the lines makes it look better. And he doesn't want to split townships. I kidded him about splitting it range. If he did, he would have some poorer land in the eastern side that
Well,
shouldn't.
even the Warner Township, 281, if you go west of 281, it's just not the same.
It's the other two, yeah.
And to that end, if you look at that Warner Township west of 281, we've made some big adjustments down through the Mansfield Slough
Yeah.
and some of that stuff that kind of takes that into
Yep.
play. The state looks at each, the state actually does what I do, just on a big scale. They look at, you know, we certainly don't have the same top dollar in Brown and McPherson and Edmonds and Minnehaha and Harding or whatever, because the state's divided into all these counties. Well, I get one top dollar, and I don't have the same, at my point, don't have the same top dollar in Rondell and Bath as I do in Richland and Greenfield. It's the same thing as the state's doing, just on a localized scale. The thing is, I don't get all the productivity information that the state does. I get sales and I get soil ratings, and I think from what I've seen on sales and soil ratings, they bear out where my neighborhoods are. And after I grew my neighborhoods and this all came up and I started talking to the neighboring counties, I think that just kind of solidifies my argument as to where some lines and neighborhoods maybe should be.
I agree.
Now, Gene, moving forward, do you need any action from us on the change of how we're doing things?
It'd be really cool if I get a real good, strong show of support for it.
I didn't
No, I
know
don't
when
need
you've
one.
done that. I don't know when you've done that. Doesn't he not need commission approval?
Doesn't need commission
Okay.
approval, but...
Because usually Mary would come in
Mary-
January with
and-
her plan, and now
yeah.
this is a different plan, right?
And it's nice to come in and talk to the commissioners when commissioners, you know, approve that what she's doing and say, yeah, we support her motion going forward, but it's not necessary as far as the state's concerned.
Because I think just backing up the map change is a huge...
And I think he has proven that what we have is a good, solid basis of what we're working with. I think they've done a good job with the support of it.
Any other questions? Well, I'd certainly invite anybody that's interested, get a copy of that letter, read through it. I'm sure we'll have more conversations on this. Anything else?
No, I for one want to thank you, Gene, for doing the comparison of the surrounding counties, because I think that speaks volumes to what you've done because of the difference in the north to the south, and that right there shows it, and it furthers our case for what we're doing, I think, so.
I agree.
Job well done.
All right, thank you very much.
I want to
Thanks.
thank
Thanks,
Commissioner
Chris.
Pizarro. I always thought I worked for equalization,
You do a good job. I'm impressed.
but I'm a pain to him. Becky is going to be told not to let me in. Starting next week.
Okay, Gary, did you have anything for us today?
Just for clarification, you talked about not doing the county-owned properties. Are you still moving forward on the Groton home?
I've got it written down for a
Yep.
motion. Yes,
And then there was one or two in town who weren't there here, in Aberdeen, or not?
What? There were
I
some lots.
thought there were a
She's
couple
already
lots.
dealt with those last...
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Okay, couldn't remember.
You need a motion on the Groton one?
Yeah, the
I'll move it.
title
I'll
action.
Moved by
second it.
Hanson, seconded by Sutton. Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Also, you asked me to get some quotes on contracts for payroll. I don't know if you were still wanting to move forward on that, or if you wanted to have more discussion on that.
I wonder if
Did
we
you-
should have a working team on that.
For what was that for, Gary?
The payroll contract.
Yeah.
I think we need to meet with a potential person to see if that's seamless. You know, it sounds like there might be a few issues you'd mentioned. If we need to
Yeah.
have Paul meet with, you know, somebody that does that type of thing to see what roadblocks we'll run into, if it's going to be seamless or if it's going to be more of a headache then. Because I know
Should we
you
be
guys had
involved in those
Yes,
discussions?
we do.
And
As,
Sheila?
yes.
Because if you're turning your bank account over to a company, that's...
We're not turning the bank
No,
account
we
over
wouldn't do
to a
that.
country.
But yeah, if you want to have
Sure.
Sheila,
We'll
Max,
set that
Paul,
up.
and then maybe whoever
Sounds good.
A lot of businesses do that.
Yeah.
A lot of businesses have.
Heavens, businesses are built on that. Yeah.
We'll get that set up right away.
Okay. Anything else?
That's all.
But I definitely think we need to move forward on it, or at least explore the possibility and do it if possible.
We could call
It'd be a-
Scott in.
It'd be
Oh,
a huge
yeah.
time saving, so.
215. Extension.
Shannon, did you get a letter?
Oh, not yet.
I got two here.
Hey, could you come visit us in open session? Can you come visit the commission over here, Scott? Thank you. Bye.
Yeah, I think if we could have Paul work with them, they've worked with so many different companies and stuff. It's just a matter of working together. Yeah.
Shannon got me that map.
Gary, are we have very many absentees due to the flu?
There's been a few.
Has there been?
New one.
There has been a few. The dispatch?
Yeah.
We do. We can do that while we're
Why don't
waiting.
you do that?
Basically, I sent you a note on, you know, when Fridays, what happened Friday. Basically, we had a couple people that had to take off work, and one of them has a lot of sick leave, not vacation. The other one has a lot of vacation, but not sick leave. And so they were just asking if it was possible to talk about some administrative leave for that issue, since they were unable to stay at work or
Come on
not.
in, Scott, we'll be with
And
just
how
one
that
second.
would happen, since they both have different situations.
I mean, we all have families and friends that have situations. I don't know how we can make an exception. It was sad. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but I think everyone has had either a personal or a work-related loss, and it's hard. So if you start making exceptions for one, they could take personal, could they, to his personal time?
Yeah, that's the issue, is that one doesn't have vacation time, but the other one does. But the one that was his closest friend doesn't have vacation time to take, really. So.
Can a person, if there's something like this, just take unpaid leave?
They could have that option.
I mean, it's not that we can't go, it's just you're not gonna get paid if you don't have the leave built up, right?
Right.
Anyone else have thoughts on that? Do we need to
That'd probably be
change?
the best solution.
Okay, I'll let him know.
All right, thank you. Scott, we've had some concerns from neighbors on a property over...
Please.
Yes, please. Property over on Highway 16 dealing with a potential hog barn there, and the neighbors just want to make sure that they're within their rights and following county ordinances. So the commission would like, and we're going to contact the sheriff after this and see if he can't provide somebody to help you out, but to go and monitor and document kind of what's going on that parcel to make sure that we are within county ordinance and these folks are following that. I've just had multiple people that have called and said, I don't think this is... So, but we would like you to, at least a couple times a week, every day if it's possible, but I know how crazy busy things are going right now. Anyone else have?
Photographs. We definitely need photographs.
And you're fully within your right to go on that property and check it out and ask questions and ask receipts. I mean, is it $2,000 and more? You're supposed to have a building permit, and there's some things going on there that are...
If they don't provide the receipts, we can, by the work progress, we'll be able to find other contractors who can give us costs.
The documentation is the key. We need
Yeah.
the pictures, we need the receipts, and as the construction progresses, we want to make sure we see it from beginning to end if possible, so that we can so that you have documentation of what it looked like before and after and during the construction process, so we know what was done.
And sporadic times. You can go out any time.
And perhaps everything's being done kosher, but unless we ask, those neighbors don't feel like they're getting the service that they want either, and they just want us to ask some questions, so...
Well, they're not permitted at this time
Okay.
for any animals. That's never been approved.
So to know in fact that they have those, then will be a step two, so...
We have to have that documentation.
We can't really at this time because we have no proof, we have no documentation of what's going on, so we can't tell them to stop what we don't know is actually happening.
Okay.
And I think we have a couple of deputies that come from Groton, so maybe that would be a good... We'll touch base with the sheriff right after this and make sure we get some help for you so you don't feel like you can't go on that property and check it out.
That would be nice.
Any other questions or comments on that?
Just
All right,
trying to
I
get
think
out
that's
there
great.
regularly, daily if possible, or at least every other day, because a lot of work can be done and covered up that we wouldn't, it's not covered up in that sense of the word, but, once it's finished, we don't know to what degree what was done
No,
underneath
that's
it.
Just a direction.
Okay, any other questions on that? Comments? Thank you, Scott, we appreciate it. Max, did you have anything for us?
No.
Gary, anything
Nope,
else?
that should be it.
Okay, anything from the folks in attendance today?
Oh, I do have,
Okay.
did you want to talk about that?
Oh, yeah.
In here,
We had a situation in 2016 because of an oversight on the caretaker of a disabled individual. The proper documentation was not submitted by the due date of April 1st. It was received on April 9th. So as a result of that, the taxes on this property went from a little over $200 to over $1,600. Well, now they're payable this year. This individual is disabled, had been getting the disabled tax freeze since I think 2004 5 or 6, so for quite a while. And again, because of the caretaker's he just missed the date. It was filed, but not by the due date. As a result, the mortgage holder paid the taxes, so the taxes have been paid. Well, now they're a client of Aspire, so Aspire is working to try and remedy this to whatever degree we're able to help. It's a disabled individual on a fixed income, and they quite frankly don't have the money to make the additional payment. And it was just for 1 year. In 2017, they met the deadline, so everything's okay. But it's just that 1 year that we need to try and deal with. I met with the treasurer's office last week, and they weren't sure if we could actually do any kind of abatement because the taxes have already been paid. So I visited with Max yesterday, and we can. One of the options is to do a refund for the amount that was paid, which is in the ballpark of $1,400 and some dollars.
So the refund would go to the mortgage company who paid it, or how did?
Right. That would be how they get their money back, because that money's being added onto their payments now to recoup it. And so that is one option. Because the employee that worked for Aspire was the one that dropped the ball and didn't get it in by the deadline, Aspire, by their own admission, it was their employee's fault and problem. So one option would be to abate the whole amount, or if we would abate 50%, for example, and then let Aspire pick up the other 50%, it'd be ballpark $700 for us and $700 for them. So whatever we're able to do, if anyone feels like we want to try and help this individual because of the oversight and the mistake in 2016, they're just asking for whatever relief we feel.
I do a lot of those for people coming through my office. Did Sheila give you an idea of, me and precedents? How many are usually late? Does this happen often, or is this an exception?
I didn't talk to Sheila because she was out last week, but this person did at least 2, if not 3 notices prior to the due date coming up.
The caretaker did, or the individual did?
Well, I assume the caretaker. I don't know who exactly, but someone that deals with it got the notice. And when it gets down almost to the wire, then they start calling. So they did give them ample notice. So, and it is, by their own admission.
Have to do.
No.
Right.
The treasurer's office is very good about pointing.
They do.
Yeah, they go out of their way. They're very helpful. But my question would be, if this, and I understand Aspire doing it, and I really feel for them. I like to do it, but I like to know that I'm not going to have 5 or 6 people that I'm doing this and then late and have the same thing happen.
Well, I think Max could verify this, but I think we did this for one other individual who missed the deadline, and we accepted it after the deadline. In that case, the taxes weren't paid. We caught it before the taxes were paid, but we did.
I remember that.
We did make an exception that one time. Am I right there, Max, in how we did that?
And
again,
this individual had also been notified multiple times to get the paperwork in.
So this wouldn't be the first time we've done anything. The difference here is the taxes were paid by the mortgage company, which seems odd to me because if the money isn't in your escrow account, you would have thought they would have picked up the phone to try and figure out what had happened, but they just pay it, and then they're able to recoup that money through their
Well, it
clients.
seems to me the press has already been set. And in this situation, the person who messed up was a third party, not the actual. Correct?
This person's caretaker, yes, or whatever the title is. So I told them that I would bring it to your attention for what, if any, action anyone thought might be appropriate.
What's this person's connection to Aspire?
Well, this is a different one.
This is the one
This is
that
the one we already approved like
made the
2-3 years ago.
exception
Oh,
2
okay,
years
I
ago.
get you. I was gonna say, I didn't think, I know that person.
And
They missed the
this
deadline.
individual was notified at least 3 times to get the paperwork in.
Oh, I believe it.
I mean, I can't tell you how often they call personally.
But Aspire is aware of it now, and they have changed their policy to make sure that someone oversees that process to make sure things are done in a timely manner.
Let Aspire pay half,
Would that be a motion?
What was it, Tom?
we pay half, and let Aspire...
Abate half?
Abate half.
Okay, I will have that paperwork done for approval. I
Is there a
really
second on
We don't have
don't
a second yet, that's all.
I'll second
Do
it.
we need, I don't think you need a motion
Till we
today.
do that.
We're
Okay.
just discussing it, and then I will get
You
the
open to that?
abatement prepared based on your conversation today for approval next week.
And every penny counts when they get down to here, I know that.
Yeah, exactly, I know. But tell me,
But
they're
then,
Aspire, they,
And Aspire does an excellent job.
yeah, they do. They
It's
don't,
just
we don't give
they're
very much money either.
Few people for a lot of people.
Yeah. Okay, any questions on that? It'll be on the agenda for next week then. Thank you for bringing it, Glenn.
Yep.
Anything else?
That's a tough one.
Anybody?
Nope.
All right, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move.
Second.
Moved by Hanson, seconded by Sutton. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Dwayne, that could